All across London, invisible territories divide the city. To millions, they mean nothing, but for some, it is a matter of life or death. These borders aren't drawn on maps. They are etched into postcodes, house and estates, and long-standing rivalries, some of which have been handed down through generations. And too many times, people with no part of the feud get caught in the middle. Just like the shocking murder of David Gomoh in Newham, East London. Newham's gang feud between the north and south of the borough has been one that has claimed the lives of many since the late 2000s, and tragically that includes people with no links to the conflict. Since the late 2000s, gangs around Newham have been split between one line, north side and south side. On the north side we have areas like Stratford, Plaistow and Forest Gate, and on the south side areas such as Custom House and Brixton, and this feud has took the lives of countless young men. In the space of 7 months in 2017, 5 people were killed in Newham as a result of this feud, with the youngest being only 14 years old. Out of these 5 victims, one was 19-year-old Abdul Manaja, a young man who had nothing to do with the feud and had dreams to serve in the Royal Air Force as a pilot. But as these 2 young men from Southside Newham caught him outside of a party in the north side, they shot him in the chest with a shotgun, mistaking him for a Northside Newham gang member. But Abdul isn't the only civilian to get caught in the crossfire in Newham. In the heat of COVID, another innocent victim shocked the borough. This young man you could faintly see here walking is 24-year-old David Gomoh, a marketing graduate from London South Bank University. During the COVID period, David joined his mum working for the NHS, which became personal for him as his father became one of the first Brits to lose their life to the deadly virus. David resided in Custom House, an area in the south side of Newham, and left his home at 10:23 PM to go to a local shop on Freemasons Road. Now, Freemasons Road is considered the frontline street of the Custom House gang. Over the years, it has been the scene of countless attacks, most notably the 2017 murder of Ahmed Jar, whose younger brother would also be killed just 1 minute away from where he was 4 years later. But for David, who had no involvement in the feud, this was just a normal late night walk to the shops, until this car pulled up. A stolen silver Dodge Caliber full of Northside Newham gang members, who just shortly before the CCTV was captured chasing an unidentified man who managed to get away. As the people inside the car noticed David, they jump out with no questions asked, causing David to run for his life. And as he enters Freemasons Road, he is tripped and stabbed a total of 10 times. Sadly, David doesn't survive his injuries, and within 4 days, 4 young men are arrested, including 19-year-old David Turry. And what police discover hidden in David Turry's bedroom was staggering. Inside David's room, 2 drawings were found, both of which depicted the events that led to David Gomoh's death. The first one shows the group smoking outside of the murder vehicle, with speech bubbles of one of the men saying "let's jump in the ride," and another saying "what is going on, I want to be involved." And the next drawing captures the point where they found David Gomoh, with speech bubbles coming out of David's character saying "I'm not involved, please don't stab me," which from the evidence his girlfriend gave, who was on the phone to him while everything played out, confirms exactly what he said before he was stabbed. It was a sick and twisted drawing which depicted a sick and twisted attack, and was a key bit of evidence to put all 4 of the men behind bars for life. But not all innocent victims of knife crime end up losing their life in the process. Some are left with lifelong scars that strip away their dreams and force them to rebuild life from scratch. James Smith had his whole life ahead of him. He wasn't part of no gang or tied to any feud. He was just a normal 17-year-old who loved Man United and loved bikes. James was originally from Clapham, South London, but at an early age his family house was caught in a fire, which resulted in his family having to move 10 minutes away in Brixton, more specifically right outside of Myotts Field. Now, Myotts Field has had a long, detailed history of gang violence. On the surface it may look good, but before its redevelopment in 2012, it was home to one of the most run-down and cramped council estates in the whole of South London. Police described the old North Field estate as hard to patrol due to its dark stairwells, hidden walkways, and enclosed courtyards. Residents described it as being trapped between poverty and violence. Back in the days, this was home to a gang named OC, but most will now recognize it as being the birthplace of the drill gang 410. Over the years, 410 has built long-standing rivalries with neighbouring areas, particularly to the northeast of their border, in Kennington and Woolworth Road. Territories claimed by two other well-known drill groups, Harlem Spartans and Moscow 17. The feud between 410 and their rivals Harlem Spartans in Kennington has been one of South London's most notorious, with both groups finding massive success in drill music. Their conflict wasn't confined to the streets. It spilled out into their lyrics, their music videos, and their online presence. Every track was another opportunity to taunt and provoke, and the feud made the connecting areas unsafe, with two close proximity gangs who were desperate to attack each other. And in that climate, a heartbreaking scenario played out. On the 23rd of February around 6 PM, James Smith and his mum get back home to Field. They had just bought a new bike and James was desperate to try it. When they get back home, James tells his mum he wants to test ride the new bike and tells her he is quickly going to ride it around the block. But on that same block were these two cars, a stolen Range Rover and a stolen Volkswagen. The two cars had been circling Brixton gang spots for nearly 2 hours and started their journey just 5 minutes away in Kennington Park, territory of the rival Harlem Spartans. As the two cars approach Henry Road in Brixton, they spot James on his bike just seconds away from his house and crash into him before jumping out and stabbing him 7 times altogether. The crash was so severe that the front wheel of the bicycle was lodged into the Range Rover's front tire. From the attack, James lost a lot of blood, and for around 50 minutes he was clinically dead, but miraculously paramedics managed to revive him. Due to his injuries, James was in critical care for almost a year, and doctors would later confirm he would never fully recover. Today, James lives with lifelong injuries. He struggles with his mobility and speech, and needs daily care. For the attackers, 2 out of 3 of them were caught, and sentenced to lifelong sentences in prison. It's a sad result for a teenager from southwest London, who just wanted to ride his bike through his neighbourhood. But it wasn't the first time this had happened near this area. The chaos you're seeing here is a brazen, broad daylight stabbing in Clapham, South London. Inside this crashed Volkswagen Golf sat 2 brothers, 40-year-old Gavin Garraway and 22-year-old Malik Garraway. Malik Garraway in the UK drill scene was known as Leaks, a rapper from the Brixton Hill drill gang Sit 7. Now Sit 7 was one of the original pioneers of UK drill music. Their feud with rival drill group 150 were the first instances of UK rappers going back and forth dissing each other over Chicago drill beats, which set the stage for many more groups to come after. But before the drill music, Sit 7's area of Brixton Hill had a deep feud with a gang in nearby Clapham. That hostility dates back years, sparked by a murder in April of 2011, when a 21-year-old from Brixton Hill known locally as Ziggy was shot and killed in Clapham after attempting to rob a grow house. The gunmen were so ruthless they even shot at paramedics rushing to save his life. And it would be far from the last time these groups would clash on the streets of South London. On the 10th of March 2019, Sit 7 rapper Leaks was in the passenger seat of his brother Gavin's VW Polo. They were driving down Clapham Park Road when these 2 young men lock onto him, 20-year-old Zion Chaeta and 22-year-old Tishan Panton, both belonging to the local Clapham gang. Zion just happened to be on a lunch break from a local college when he randomly noticed Leaks in the passenger seat, which causes him and his friend to charge the car immediately. Due to heavy traffic, Gavin decides to make a U-turn and ends up hitting a pole, giving Zion enough time to stab Gavin in the chest 3 times, while Tishan strikes with a walking crutch. Sadly, Gavin dies from the stab wounds, leaving behind 3 kids due to a gang feud he was never a part of. The response to Gavin's murder was swift and brutal. In the next 5 months, 2 Clapham gang members were killed by convicted members of Sit 7, pulling more young men into a spiral of revenge which more than them will suffer with.